Live once again, celebrating the book launch for Calm Parent, Confident Kid. This is Charity Nicole. I'm Becky Norwood with Spotlight Publishing. We are really, really enjoying this day full of interviews and showcasing this amazing book. Charity, I love your chapter, and I think it's totally echoes what so many parents feel. But what if I damage my kid forever? Whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
It is, it's a very real fear because, how do we know? How do we really know that we're not going to just damage our children as we raise them because we really don't have all the answers.
yeah. Sorry, my doggy trying to shoo him away. Um, that fear is exactly the right word that you used. And, you know, it's not just a fear, I think, of damaging our children. It's also a fear that I think it's because we feel damaged ourselves. You know, like, um, how, because I think we all have lingering trauma that we're all working on all the time. Well, probably some of us are working on it, some of us may not be, depending on who you are, but and how aware you are of it. But you're afraid that, like, oh my gosh, how much of this am I going to pass on to my child, and I want to make sure I don't do that. And that's exactly the thing. But if you take the mindset of, I refuse to believe that I'm going to damage my child forever. I just know that it's going to be okay. Then just knowing that they're going to be okay is what makes all the difference. Like, refusing to put a mentality on them that they're going to be damaged is what makes the difference. If that would make sense. Like, yeah,
That is so true. And it's also, truly beginning to trust in yourself and to
yeah,
trust in that, you know, nobody can be perfect. Nobody is always right 100% of the time. I'd like to think we are, but that is not that is not what happens. Um, and yet trusting in the process and always striving to grow and to lead by example for our children. And your chapter, just the title of it, I had to smile when I saw it because I think
thank you.
how many of us parents have we don't it doesn't being a parent doesn't come with a manual. We don't have something, oh, this is A, do this, B, do that, and gone are the days of the Dr. Spock, we got to do everything this way or that way. We live in a very dynamic world, and a lot of challenges to raising children in the right way, but it starts with us.
Yeah. And thank you, by the way, for all the praise that you're giving me. I'm like, it feels surreal to even be here right now. Like, just the fact that you read my chapter and you read what I had to say and you liked it feels like, wow, like that's pretty cool. So thank you. Yeah. And you know what? It's kind of like we don't have a manual for parenting, but at the same time, in a way, we have too much information on parenting coming at us all the time. Like, there's no one manual, but there's a zillion trillion manuals. Like,
Too much
everybody has an
noise.
opinion
Yeah.
about everything. And so that's why it is so important to, like you said, trust yourself and to have faith that it's going to be okay. Have faith that you're going to figure it out, and to develop the ability to think critically about the decisions that you're making. You know what I'm saying? And
I
not just
do.
believe whatever you're hearing, because then if you just believe whatever you see, that's not good either.
That's a very good point because there is too much noise out there. And we can grow up with a complex just as a parent, just because there is too much noise and not ever stop to truly trust that we will do it right, we'll get it right. Especially, I think all of us as parents, yes, we all have stressors, we all have a lot of things that come our way, but look at what you're doing, look what you've brought to the world. A beautiful kid, children. I know in this, I took it to be one child. I don't know. Do you have more children than that?
Yeah, he's just one. He's 5 now. He's almost 6. He'll be 6 in July.
And he's a reflection of what you're doing to raise him up in the way he should be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's beautiful.
yeah. They teach us a lot, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's I have how do I put this? I've kind of embraced that I'm sort of re-going through my own childhood in a way with him because I homeschool him, right? And I've noticed that he really, really wants and needs the hands-on attention. Like we use these videos when I'm doing it, right? So I thought that I would just be able to be like, okay, watch the video, this 20-minute video, and then I'll come back and I'll do your seat work with you, whatever.
Oh no.
But it's not. So I'm going through kindergarten all over again. Okay. But instead of being like, oh my God, a lot of parents would be like, I don't have time for this. I don't think I can do this. I'm just going to send it. I don't want to do this. You know what? I've decided, okay, well, this is my life now. I'm going to sit with my child and just learn what he's learning and be with him and be present, because what is more important than this? I'm excited to be excited about what he's about. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Change your
Yes,
perspective.
I do know. I homeschooled both of my children. I was a single mom, and I had
Oh,
decided I wanted to homeschool. I had wanted all my life to do that, so I
me
did,
too.
and it was absolutely. It's the most cherished memories of my life. Because
Yeah.
number one, I learned how much I really didn't learn in school, and I needed to learn right alongside them. And I have
Yeah.
my daughters are 15 months apart, and so I started with my 4-year-old in the background, just giving her busy stuff to do. Just no pressure on her. The 5-year-old, her and I were just really into learning and doing everything. And I never once thought about that the younger one was picking it up like a little magnet because there was no pressure on her whatsoever. But my two
Yeah.
daughters learned so differently from each other. One was very kinesthetic, we had to build everything, we had to create everything before she really got it. The other one could pick
Hmm.
up a book, and the younger one could pick up a book and read it, and she had it.
That's what
She,
mine's doing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and so learning to adapt to both of their learning styles was fascinating for me. But I had to study along. We went clear through high school, and it was just fascinating to watch. They were so night and day different in their learning styles and what they learned, but we were able to take learning to a different level in the sense of being able to if we study in history, they learn to cook for that era, that time period.
Oh,
They
that's so
they learned to
cool.
sew for that time period, and they learned about the culture, and they had to really kind of reenact it. But even today, they come back and say, "Wow, that was pretty amazing. We got to do
Yeah.
a lot of fun things." So it's a real treasure to I'm not. Public school is perfectly fine for many, and it's important. And there's many in this book that are also teachers, and each one of us have to be okay with finding our groove and finding what
Yeah.
works for us, and no side by side comparison, because we each have that role to bring our children up in the way that we feel is best for them.
Yeah. And I just really, what's most important to me is that he's like me, and I knew that I wanted to homeschool like you when I was growing up. Like I just knew this was the trajectory I was going to go on. But even more so now, just the child that he needs a reason for everything. Just like I needed a reason for everything growing up. He doesn't just believe like, well, why? And if whatever you say doesn't make sense to him, he's gonna, And so if I wasn't learning what he's learning with him, then um it's almost like I need to be on the same page with him as he's growing up to make sure that he always trusts me, and we're all, like I'm always able to guide him, if that makes sense. And not just that he's blindly trusting me, but at the same time we're always on this trajectory together as parent and child, if that makes sense. Like I'm not
You're
just this
experiencing it
authoritarian
together.
figure.
Right, right. You're getting down to his at his level and learning right alongside of him. And you're going to find that you're going to have so many fun opportunities for not just sitting down with books, but getting out and exploring the world. And when I was homeschooling, we had homeschool support groups, and we had all age groups that were learning together. There was a lot of fun field trips we did. There was a lot of things that we're able to incorporate into it. So there's quite a bit of diversity in the way they get to learn too. But you
Yeah.
get to learn right alongside them.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm going to be planning out some field trips this year.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
really cool. So what made you decide to write this chapter for Calm Parents, Confident Kids?
Here. Oh my gosh. It's been a long time. It was a couple years ago now that we wrote this. Um, I don't really know. I think at the time, it's just something that I was struggling with was the yelling. And so I decided that because it was something that I was struggling with, that I decided to write about it and how I was overcoming it in order to help other people. That's kind of what I've discovered is how I roll in my business and in my life. And when I'm giving guidance all the time, which is what I pretty much do in my writing, my social media channels, I'm not just being like, hey, go do this because I think I know everything. It's like, yo, I've either already overcome this or these are my current discoveries on how I'm overcoming it. So go implement this because I think it's helpful. So at the time, it was what I had learned was the way. And I just thought, I really want people to know this, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. And actually, if you're struggling with something, to just dive in there and learn it as you go and teach. You really have to step up to the plate and apply it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't mean to sound harsh, but I think it's kind of hypocritical when people are walking around not practicing what they preach. And I didn't want to be that kind of person. Not that I'm perfect, and nobody can be 100% all the time. That's exactly the point of brain training is that we're not perfect, but we do have a standard that we're shooting for here in our brain training. Like we're doing this. This is our practice. You know what I'm saying? We're not just
Mhm.
walking through life not being mindful. We are being mindful of our behavior. That's the point.
Very cool.
Self-awareness.
How did you get started in Train Your Brain?
Oh boy. Okay. That's a hard thing to remember. Exactly. So, okay, Marion said, so we practice. Exactly. It's practicing. Um, I remember, okay, so I used to be an Instagram coach, like back in 2015. I don't do this anymore, but I used to teach people how to sell their stuff on Instagram. And somehow, some way, I was approached by Dana Wild, who created the Train Your Brain empire that she has. And I don't really remember exactly how that happened, but I was approached by her and asked to be part of something or another, and I was just integrated into that world, and I just started learning what she does and following all of the stuff, and
Soaking
here
it
I
up.
am. Yeah, and I just met these cool people along the way, and I just think she is such a cool lady. Like she's what I want to be when I grow up. Like she's older than me, but I just think she is just she's the coolest.
uh, and so, what's your key takeaway as far as what you've learned from around surrounding yourself with what she teaches?
My key takeaway. Oh, there's so many. I picked just one. But I guess kind of ties into what I said about how we're not striving for perfection, but we're also not staying mediocre either. Like, and really, that's a mindset of just never giving up, right? It's like you're never just resting on your laurels and saying, "Oh, I'm damaged forever. I guess this is just never gonna work for me." What my parents did to me, ugh. Or like whatever the circumstance is that you went through, whatever, and even when new stuff happens to you, like the most horrible thing in the world could technically happen to you, is not insurmountable. One way or another, you can find a way to overcome it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
Absolutely.
what's the point of life? Like why you're here for a reason. Like figure it out. Come on.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, figure it out. And being able to raise a child and know what you know and be able to apply it and teach your child, you're going to set your child up for so much success as he walks into adulthood. He's going to know these things and things that perhaps some of us have had to learn a little bit later or a lot later in life, and how the power that we have in our own mind and the power of words and all these things that sometimes I think, man, if I'd have known that when I was young, it would have been so different. And yet it's where we are. Do with what we have now where we are, and pick up and lead by example for our children.
Yes. And what you just said, the power of words, oh my gosh. I cannot even tell you every day, all the time, I stress that. It drives me crazy how much people don't realize the power of words with the music they listen to, like these downer messages that are everywhere, and they're just like taking this into their consciousness all the time, these negative messages, and I'm like, stop doing this. Like
Pay
positivity,
attention.
positivity, like come on, good trajectories, like change the story, like you are writing your own story, and if you're believing this crap anyway, like what you just said, and like you said, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter if you're 20, 40, 60, 80, you're still alive. Okay, like let's go. And
So
even if you can't be 20 again, you have 20-year-olds that you could help mentor. You have people in your life that you can change. Like this, like you're here for a reason. Like ugh.
that's beautiful. So, aside from homeschooling your son, what else, what is your work in the world? What do you do?
Okay, so I have been on hiatus from my business for the last 2 years because, like I said, I used to teach Instagram, but to be quite honest with you, I got just really tired and burnt out just from the way that I saw Instagram itself, just all this stuff and social media in general, just the way I saw all this stuff going, and how sucked in people. I saw social media just absorbing people's lives. And I was like, I don't want to be about this anymore. Like, I had a reason I was teaching people to be about it, but I was like, I don't want to feed into this. Anymore, if that makes sense. And so I was like, but I don't know what I want to do. Like, and plus I had a bunch of personal stuff going on. So I took a hiatus, and it took me this long to figure it out. And I figured out, what I'm really good at is positive persuasion, which is pretty much training your brain. But I call it positive persuasion because really, in all walks of life, my philosophy is that if you don't know how to get your way, in a way that's also helping other people, then you're not really being very effective, right? The difference between positive persuasion and manipulation is that manipulation is harming people. It's getting your way, but you're also harming people while doing it. Positive persuasion is creating win-win outcomes for everybody, right? So I haven't started my business back up again, but I will be in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to be creating all sorts of courses and trainings on how to do that.
That's
Does that make sense?
awesome. That's beautiful. So very needed, and that's how we can become leaders. I think we are all here on this earth right now to be the leaders and to really be the force for change and leading by example and teaching out there, really making a difference and showing there's a different way to do this. Just totally amazing, beautiful. So
Thank you.
if if someone listening to this broadcast today has decided, I'm going to go get a copy of that book, what do you hope they walk away with?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard question. um, well, it's very personal, isn't it? So I really honestly can't give one answer. It's sort of a Jedi mind trick, honestly. I, I, I really hope that anybody who reads the book walks away with whatever they need to move forward.
Right.
I don't care what principle it is that you read, what sentence, what phrase, what principle you pick up that just changes your life. Whatever it was, just take it and run with it. That's all I care about.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Any of them.
Yeah. So there's so much that, the bringing together of the many voices that are in this book has been done in a very beautiful way because it's so grounded out. It covers such a wide variety of subjects from our diet to, the just how we show up in the world to even understanding our own self emotionally and how we serve in the world, all the different things, our mindset, everything. The way this book is put together, it has something for everybody, truly.
Yes. And it's all encompassing because all those things have to do, like what you said, showing up in the world, which is really tied into positive persuasion, I feel, because if you don't feel your best, then you're not going to look your best, then you're not going to get perhaps the job interview that you wanted, that's going to take you the places that you want to go, that's not going to serve your family. I mean, everything is connected, isn't it? It all
Hmm.
ties together.
Right, it's all
So
interconnected.
let's get the
Yep.
results we want in all these areas, but it starts with at least one, and then you can keep going. Build some momentum.
Very, very cool. Very cool. What a beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you for the work that you're doing and just taking care of that child of yours, that beautiful young man that you're molding and shaping and preparing for the future, because those are our leaders. Those are the ones that are
Thank
coming up and will be leading our world. And that's what's so
Thank you so
important.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. It
beautiful.
was lovely to meet you, and I appreciate the
Thank
talk
you.
too.
Awesome. Very good. Well, for anybody that's listening, if you haven't yet, be sure and pick up a copy of the book or share it with somebody that you think could truly, truly benefit from reading from this book and even learning more about the Train Your Brain program and what all is involved. It covers every aspect of life. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for today's fine interview.
Thank you. Bye.